stretch each pizza by hand. So from beginning to end, a pizza would take between 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Cooked.
Quick and fast.
Yeah, so the oven sits at high temperatures. So we have the oven sitting at anywhere between 280 and 320 degrees.
Sure.
And it cooks within 90 seconds to about 2 minutes.
Talk about fast food, huh?
That's another reason why it actually it was intriguing that why do we spend so much time if the original doesn't take so long.
Yeah.
It's so fast, it's so simple. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, why reinvent the wheel? Just better it as you can. There we go. Put some mags there, 17-inch. All right, so awesome stuff. So that's a nice explanation of how you got inspired by. But you, as you mentioned, you went to the sort of Gulf Food Expo, and this was the one food stall that sort of stood out for you. So why particular pizza? Are you a huge fan of pizza, or do you think that is something that people would enjoy as opposed to other sort of cuisines?
I've always done burgers. That has been my forte ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
And it just something about that whole experience where the guy did it in front of us. It took him less than 30 seconds to stretch out that pizza. The pizza took 60 seconds in the oven. It's just that whole experience. Maybe something just sparked in me at that very moment. I'm not sure. But before that, I didn't make a pizza in my life.
Oh, so and now you're non-stop making it now.
Now we're making it daily.
Alhamdulillah. Talking about making it daily, where are you guys based?
Okay, so we based at Al Falah College at the soccer astroturfs. So you enter from the preschool and you walk across the soccer turfs, and we are situated there at Al Falah College. So
is it that new building? Is that the preschool?
Yeah, the new building is the preschool.
Yeah.
So you park in there, and there's ample parking. We open on weekends. We open late at night. Ramadan, we have extended hours as well.
Because the guys are playing ball after the Raweh.
Yes. So on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we open from 4 p.m. till 11 p.m.
Wow. Okay.
The kitchen closes at 11. So if you want milkshakes, till midnight.
Oh, 100%. Hey, heavy hours you're working, huh? Loving the passion that you have.
Passion.
Absolutely a passion. So talk to us about the menu. I mean, you've mentioned you have pizzas, but I've also seen that you got something on special for this Ramadan. You got a particular box.
Okay, so so we have 2 iftar boxes at the moment that we're doing for this Ramadan. We have one iftar box which includes 4 sliders, beef sliders. It includes a portion of chips, includes garlic bread, and 2 mini pizzas. So that's option 1. And then we have another slider box, which is 8 sliders and fries. And both the boxes are for 350.
Alhamdulillah. So it's jam-packed with flavors and all your favorites, yeah?
It's really an incredible box. And each element of the box, we do spend a lot of time getting it right. So like the buns, we're very specific about which buns we choose. The meat is very specific, what meat we use, what ratio of fat. All of these things are very, 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 very specific. And there's a lot of thought that goes behind it. The garlic bread as well. It's very, very specific.
Alhamdulillah. So there's a lot of flavors that goes into it. So how did you think about the iftar box? And is this the first year in Ramadan?
This is the first year. So we opened last year. We opened our doors on the 1st of June, officially.
Wow.
So it's not even a year.
Alhamdulillah. But I've seen you all over. I'm seeing you at the pop-ups, at the souk. I saw you there as well. Alhamdulillah. So how's the experience been, sort of bringing the new flavors and this whole new concept to South Africa, especially Durban?
It's been a lot of work. I'll be honest. Credit to my brother as well. He's also putting in the hours.
Hope he's listening.
I hope so too. He's probably on his way here. I hope he makes it.
Inshallah.
But yeah, credit goes out to him as well. He puts in the hours. We've spent quite a few hours where we're sitting till 3 o'clock in the morning mixing batches of dough. It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding when people really enjoy your food.
Alhamdulillah. I think that is a rewarding sort of feeling when you get people, messaging you and telling you, hey, this pizza was tops, the burgers are tops. So yeah, as mentioned, you mentioned that you have sliders a part of the iftar box. Is it part of your menu as well?
Okay, so the sliders and the garlic bread are two items that we deliberately put on the iftar box because we're introducing it after Ramadan. So we just wanted to give people a taster and introduction to it. So those two items are new coming into our menu. We do have a garlic bread and a chili garlic bread, which is something very unique, and it's incredible.
Alhamdulillah. Now I'm looking at the pictures now. My mouth is actually watching, actually looking at the pictures. So for our listeners out there who actually want to see what we're talking about with these Ramadan iftar boxes, you can WhatsApp us on 0609041056. We'll send it through to you. Just tantalize your taste buds here this afternoon, and maybe during the course of the week or even tonight, you can make your order at Stone Artisanal Pizza. Alhamdulillah. So let's talk more about the menu. So I've got the menu in front of me. You've got your pizzas, you got your margarita, your chili garlic margarita, Otolana.
Yeah, that's a veg.
That's a fancy word, that one.
Yeah, it's just a fancy word, but
we love it. We love it.
It's a veg pizza.
Because if you can't pronounce it, it must be good. That's what I always say. Pepperoni.
It's actually one of my favorites.
Is it?
Yeah. It's surprisingly good. When you have the mushrooms, you have the umami there, and you have the olives give a slight saltiness. So it's different textures, different. Yeah. And and I have a lot of Portuguese influence in my life, so olives is a big part of my life.
What do you mean in Portuguese influence?
No, originally my mother is from Mozambique.
Really? So you speak Portuguese? You speak
I do speak Portuguese.
Say something in Portuguese first, brother. You can't not now. You brought it up. Talk to us about.
What can I say?
Say that the Otolana is your favorite pizza and you look forward to it every week.
You're putting me on the spot here, but I do speak. I do speak Portuguese. It's my second language. We at home. My wife is actually Mozambican as well. My mother is Mozambican.
Wow.
So yeah,
but I don't see no prawns on the menu.
Yeah,
we're getting there. That's after Ramadan, inshallah. Mozambican prawns that we're looking forward to. All right, we got Sister Nasreen asking for the menu. We'll send it through to you guys. Alhamdulillah. Brother Shahid is saying, hey, we're fasting now. Now you're going and tantalizing our taste buds, man. But that's the whole point of the segment, alhamdulillah. So you make sure that you go to Stone Artisanal Pizza. So you also got creamy chicken on the menu. You got jalapeno chicken, nice and hot barbecue steak, spicy sriracha chicken. Hey, the flavors are banging this side, man. You got your smash burgers. Now, talk to us about the smash burgers.
Okay, so smash burgers have been my thing for the last 5 years, 6 years. I've been making them every weekend, trying to get the technique right. With everything, I try and focus more on the technique. The flavors will develop on their own. The technique is what makes it or breaks it, basically.
It is all about the flavors. Now, to sort of like the experimental phase, that's what I always find fascinating. It's like when you're in the kitchen, now you with Rehan and Raisa together brainstorming and you're saying like, right, we want to make a chicken pizza now. How are we going to do this? How is that whole method in the kitchen? Talk to me about that.
Okay, before we get to that, let me give you the reason why we named it Stone. There's an interesting story behind it. It's just that when we started experimenting, we didn't have an oven.
Oh.
So you do get those pizza stones, which they sell, the rounded ones.
Yes.
So all our pizzas, we experimented on those stones.
In the summer, in Durban.
In Durban.
And you just put it outside and then you put the pizza.
So we tried it in a home oven, which doesn't get up to temperature.
Yeah.
And then from there, we couldn't get the results we wanted. So we tried it on a braai stand.
Oh.
So that gave us a little bit better results, but obviously there's no heat coming from the top. So because the stone was so important to us, that's why we named it after the pizza stone.
Artisanal pizza.
Yeah. So it's basically the pizza stone that they cook it in.
Lucky that's the story, because I would have assumed something else. I'm just joking. Ramadan now. Only tajweed to focus on. All right. Let's talk about sort of the process in the kitchen.
Okay. So most of the recipes, we work on it together. The dough is what took us a lot of time. It took us up, I think, about 6 months.
Sure.
Just to get the dough right.
Wow.
And we started it every weekend. We used to do a different batch. We experimented with the hydration levels. We experimented with the fermentation times. And then after you get the right result, that's not the end, because now we need to keep that result consistent over time. So it might be good for the first hour, but if you don't maintain the same temperature, the same humidity, it will deteriorate very quickly.
Also,
the dough.
It's like a science.
So the dough it's really, really intricate.
Wow.
And sometimes we've had instances where we started pop-ups, and because of the heat, our dough overrose,
Oof.
and we had to close down.
Serious.
That was in the
That
first
hectic.
month. It happened to us once.
Yeah, but Durban is hectic too. Huh?
Yeah, with the
Unpredictable.
humidity and the heat, obviously we learned from there.
Trial and error.
And Alhamdulillah, we got to a stage where the souk was one of the peaks of our career so far in this, where we were doing
that's the
up
deep
to
end.
400-500 a day.
Hey,
Alhamdulillah,
alhamdulillah,
comfortably.
shukr, alhamdulillah. A lot of mouths to feed.
Alhamdulillah.
And our people, we love a chowza. They love it.
It was insane, and there people are still telling us that was quiet outside. Inside was busier.
Sure. But let's talk about sort of the business side of any sort of a food business. I mean, the sort of ordering of the ingredients, making sure that it's fresh. When you're serving customers, that's another skill on its own. So talk to us about that journey.
Okay, so my brother Rehan he is a chef. He did study to be a chef. So he has some sort of experience in the kitchen. Even though he's young, he's 22 years old, 22 years young. He's still fairly young. So he does have some experience, and he does most of the ordering and everything is done fresh daily. Our chicken is cooked daily. Our veg is cut daily. Our dough is made the night before because it needs time to ferment. But that's also done for the day. Everything is basically the mince that we buy daily. Daily we make the patties. Our patties are made in-house. Our caramelized onions take about 2 hours. That's done in-house.
Yes, I heard about that. That y'all actually like really go into the nitty-grittiness of the caramelized onion. That's an art on its own, isn't it?
That's the caramelized onions. Yeah, it is quite. It's quite. We take our time with the onions because that really makes.
It's a flavor on its own.
It is,
and it's sort of like a make or break flavor.
And if you underdo it, you get that onion flavor which we don't want. So basically, the result that you want is everything must work well together. You mustn't feel any element on its own. So even with the pickles, it's very specific how many pickles you put. You don't want to have a big pickle in your mouth as soon as you take a bite and the whole pickle, it's not a very nice thing. So my goal is generally to get it all in such a way where people don't really notice what's inside. So one shocking thing with our burgers is that a lot of kids, they have their special orders. And so when we do it for the schools and stuff, if they specifically tell us, so sometimes the school will tell us, just put everything in. The kids won't really notice.
What does that mean? Just put everything in.
No, so if you go to start asking each child, like, what do you want? What do you want to exclude? Like, you get children that don't eat cheese, unless they're lactose intolerant, that's different. But they're just fussy.
Yeah.
So generally, the last event that we did with the school, they were actually surprised. They said the children didn't even know the onions were there.
And some of them don't eat onions.
And they don't eat onions.
Sure.
So that's the main goal for me, is for it to be such that no one really differentiates each element.
Sure.
Because
that's well thought of, yeah.
If they do differentiate, then you're doing something wrong because they notice that it's there.
So you're very meticulous when it comes to putting in the flavors together. Alhamdulillah. So my last question to you, only have about a minute or so left before we go into the comp mode. For those budding entrepreneurs out there, maybe brothers or sisters that want to start a business and they want to sort of get into the nitty-gritty of it in terms of starting a business in the food industry, what sort of tips can you give to them, or words of encouragement to say, what, be prepared to get yourself into something hectic, but also know that it can be rewarding at the end?
With regard to food, all I can say is, if you have a passion for it, you are going to make it work. And that should be the mindset of every new business owner or entrepreneur, that they should be relentless. There's no two ways about it. This stone is actually my third business that I'm opening.
You Alani, yeah?
Not really Alani. I just have the passion for it, and I just love to work. I have a great work ethic. And for me, from my previous experience, I would say food is one of the hardest businesses to get into.
I've heard so.
And the second tip that I can give when it comes to food is that people generally eat first with their eyes.
That's true.
So hire a great marketing team or great photography team that can make or break your food business.
That's it. There we go. Now we're going to do a pretty quick competition. I've sent the menu to those listeners out there. So we're just going to ask a question instead of everyone flocking to give us a call. I'm going to ask one question, and the first person to answer it correctly, we'll call you, and then we're going to ask you another question. How's that? It's simple. Simple. So the question is, where can you find Stone Artisanal Pizza? All right. First person to answer it right, we'll give you a call, and then we'll ask you another question on top of that. Absolutely. So there we go. So we've got about a minute or so left before we conclude and move on to our next segment. We got a very interesting segment up next. We've got a life coach coming in to sort of teach you how to balance it out. So here we go. Brother Shahid, we've got you as the first one. So we're going to give you a call on WhatsApp. And you can win yourself an
iftar box.
There we go. An iftar box. All right. Does the brother answer? All right. Let's go to the lines. Do we have Brother Shahid? Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you doing, sir? Still ringing? Oh, wait, what must I do? Oh, sorry, Maf. Okay, as we get our brother onto the line. So it's a simple question. Brother Shahid, assalamu alaikum. Hello?
Walaikum salam.
Hey, such an honor to hear your voice now, man. I see all your messages all the time. Brother, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Buzruk moda kenyana. MashaAllah. Brother Shahid, I'll leave it to Brother Rais to ask you a very simple question. And firstly, Ramadan Mubarak, brother, and how's the Ramadan treating you?
Alhamdulillah.
Shukr, alhamdulillah.
Okay, so our question for you today is, just name any of the items in one of, just list the items in one of the two iftar boxes.
The sliders.
How many sliders?
2 sliders.
No, that was a pizza.
One got 4 sliders.
One got 4.
Okay, we'll give you that one. The one has 4 sliders, 2 mini pizzas, and a garlic
Correct,
bread.
bro. Congratulations, brother Shahid. You are a winner. You can definitely pick up the box. Alhamdulillah. So we just need your details. Just type it on the WhatsApp message, your full name, your contact number, and the competition that you just entered. And we'll send it through to Brother Rais, and then you can collect it at the Stone Artisanal Pizza located at Al Falah College, inshallah.
Shukran.
Okay, so our hours for Ramadan are 4 to 7 on weekdays, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 till 11 p.m.
There we go. Jazakallah khair, Brother Shahid. Congratulations once again, and shukran for tuning in. Okay, absolutely. Brother Rais, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you guys all the best, inshallah. And thank you so much for joining us. I love the fact that you've explained the brand in terms of how intricate you get into details with regards to the ingredients, not just a person that says just put everything together and just sell it. There's a lot of thought and sort of heart that goes into it. So we make dua that you move forward with leaps and bounds with the brand. Ameen. And inshallah, we'll see Stone open up in a fantastic mall setting. Hey! Coming up, hey! MashaAllah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah for having me.
Jazakallah khair for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Let's wrap up for this segment, proudly brought to you by Durban Halal Meats. Up next, we go for a quick ad break, and then we welcome Sister Adila Vahed, who is a life coach for you to understand the balance in Ramadan. Stay tuned.
Oh, happy day.
Eid Milan 2025 just got bigger. We're bringing you top brands and exclusive deals for the ultimate Eid shopping experience. From fashion to home decor, gifts and gourmet delights. Everything you need is under one roof at Saxony Westwood Mall, 20th to the 23rd of March. Don't miss out on shopping with the biggest names in the industry. See you there.
A day for friends and family.
Krugerrands are a timeless investment. Every day, thousands trust Isa Bullion to buy, store, and sell them effortlessly. With 16 years of global expertise, we make gold trading simple. Trade 24/5 from anywhere on our user-friendly platform, a first for South Africa. Each Krugerrand is fully insured and stored in high-security vaults. Enjoy competitive pricing and guaranteed buyback. Isa Bullion, built on trust, driven by expertise, focused on your future. Visit isabullion.co.za today.
Join me, Aisha Jamal, in making a difference for our elders in need. Many cannot afford essential walking aids. Let's change that. Donate today and help provide mobility and independence. Every contribution counts. Able the Disabled Drive. Support the cause, enable their steps. Powered by the Al-Ansar Foundation.
Looking to book your next holiday? Make your way to One Stop Travel and Tours. At One Stop Travel, we offer a wide range of holidays at the most competitive prices. Group tours, tailor-made holidays, cruises, transfers, accommodation, travel insurance, and car hire. Visit our website on www.onestoptours.co.za for our current Turkey specials, Mauritius school holiday deals, and Umrah packages. Choose from a multitude of pre-made packages. Visit one of our branches in Overport, Gateway, Musgrave Centre, Fordsburg, Westwood Mall, Pavilion Shopping Centre, Chatsworth, Phoenix, and Cape Town. Contact us today on 0860 109 500. One Stop Travel and Tours, your one-stop travel shop.
This Eid, we're making your celebrations extra special with Checkers Foods Cowie Park Eid Butchery Hampers Competition. 5 lucky winners will each take home a hamper valued at 1,000 Rand. From Monday, March 1st to Thursday, March 27th, spend 500 Rand or more in store, write your name and number on the back of your till slip and drop it into the competition box. Winners will be announced on Friday, March 28th on Radio Al-Ansar. So head to Checkers Foods Cowie Park and get shopping. T's and C's apply.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al-Ansar.
قمر سيدنا النبي قمر وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل وكف المصطفى كالورد ينادي الله الله وعطرها يبقى إذا مست أيادي الله الله وكف المصطفى كالورد ينادي الله الله وعطرها يبقى إذا مست أيادي الله الله وعم نوالها كل العباد وعم نوالها كل العباد وعم نوالها كل العباد حبيب الله يا خير البراء يا قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمر وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل ولا ظل له بل كان نورا الله الله تنال الشمس منه والبدور الله الله ولا ظل له بل كان نورا الله الله تنال الشمس منه والبدور الله الله ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا وكل الكون أنار بنور طه قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمر وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل
All right, and we are back. Assalamu alaikum. It is a social network that you are listening to right here on Radio Al Ansar. Up next, we have the honor of welcoming Sister Adila Vahid, who's in studio with us here today, and she is a life coach. Now, Ramadan is a time of reflection, spirituality, as well as connection. But for many couples, it can also be a time of heightened tension, unresolved emotions, and explosive arguments. Now, why do these issues surface during the sacred month? Well, and what do these conflicts truly reveal about the state of our relationships? Now, today we joined with Sister Adila Vahid, a life coach with extensive experience in helping individuals and couples navigate emotional challenges and build healthier relationships. Together, we'll explore the hidden dynamics of marital conflicts during Ramadan, the impact on children who witness these struggles, and how we can break free from learned patterns to create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Adila, and welcome.
Walaikum salam. Zahir, thank you for having me on your show.
And thank you so much for joining us here. Very important topics, especially during the month of Ramadan. So, Sister Adila, during Ramadan, we often hear about couples experiencing intense arguments or emotional outbursts. Sometimes it can contribute to the hangriness in all of us. But why do you think these unresolved emotions tend to surface during this particular month? And what does this reveal about the underlying state of these relationships?
Okay, Zahir. So during Ramadan, all of us have set the intention, the niyat, to engage in more ibadat, right? So our spiritual expectations are heightened for ourselves. For example, I would say in this month, I need to complete my Quran. I need to read this many durood per day. I don't want any qaza salat this month, etc., so on and so forth. And so if each individual sets an intention, we don't want to mess it up. We don't want to go against our own checklists that we've set and standards that we've set for ourselves for our spiritual well-being and our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here is where the downfall comes in. Whilst we have set these intentions for ourselves, we also tend to hold those close to us accountable to do the same. So we sort of now have this expectations of our husbands. I'm saying husbands because I'm the wife. If I'm awake for tahajjud, then you should be awake for tahajjud. Why are you sleeping until just before Seri or Fajr, you know? So then, as we all know, fasting is not a walk in the park, especially for men and children. And I say that with the utmost respect because it is a bit more challenging, especially if you're a smoker or if you vape or if you have a short temperament or if you're used to your lunchtime after Zohar Salah or your tea times. It proves to be much more difficult. And so this does lead to fatigue, to hunger, and of course, the disrupted sleep patterns and all of that. So all of this is definitely going to make us more emotionally reactive, both men and women. So since we are super vigilant and aware of our intentions and actions, because it is the month of Ramadan, we tune into our emotional states, and this certainly then exposes resentments, unspoken conversations, and unresolved conflict that one may be going through normally, but then it is much more apparent during the month of Ramadan. For example, throughout the year, husbands and wives may suppress their frustrations, not always, but most times, and practice more patience. Perhaps when one is upset or venting, this happens with the intention to keep the peace. Let it pass, let her carry on, let him carry on. But guess what? It stores an emotional baggage. Every situation, especially if it is something that happens often and it goes unresolved. So when you have enjoyed a nice lunch and you just finished a nice cool drink, for example, you're not necessarily going to react when there's an argument happening at home. You're able to regulate your emotions, or better yet, you just keep quiet. Does the problem go away? Absolutely not. It becomes suppressed frustration and unaddressed. It becomes suppressed frustration and unaddressed grievances. So in our relationship, we go through cycles of good behavior, cycles of bad behavior. This is the natural process, right? And it's predictable. It's only normal for this to happen in every marriage. But the danger zone applies when the bad cycles are not openly confronted when it needs to be. So we tend to have expectations of our partner during the month of Ramadan. That's the first part. Some people set some really unrealistically high expectations of each other. And when they are disappointed because it's not being met, guess what? That's when the conflict begins.
So do you think that sort of in Ramadan, it's sort of that emotional baggage that we sort of hung on to, and now it becomes more apparent because of the mood swings that we get during the month of Ramadan because of the change and adjustments in our routine?
Of course, and the change and the adjustment in the mind and the body that's taking place, because your body and mind is going through a detox.
Yeah.
So you become all of your senses are extremely heightened, and you're paying attention to things that you may not necessarily pay attention to normally.
Sure. Okay. So now when hurtful words are sort of exchanged during these fights, it's often brushed off as just anger. But you've mentioned that these words carry a deeper message. How can couples learn to listen to what's being communicated during these moments rather than dismissing it as temporary anger?
That's a very good question. And I can assure you that it's not just anger. So during a fight, if couples are arguing over the issue at hand, let's say, I'm going to give you a silly example. The wife sends a message to her husband during the day, reminding him, please, can you buy dhania for me? You know, right now, dhania is like gold. He gets home.
True story.
Yeah, he gets home. And of course, he doesn't bring the dhania. She goes off at him for forgetting. And then an argument ensues where he says, she sent the message too late. Why didn't you phone me? You know, I don't check my phone at work, etc. If the argument stays in that loop of events where they are focusing on the actual situation, then that is healthy, normal, and that's okay. So it's about the phone, it's about work, it's pertinent to that present situation. What is not okay is when things elevate and escalate very quickly. For example, she tells him, well, you cannot ever do anything right. I've been married to you for 15 years and you never did anything properly anyway. I don't even know why I listened to my parents and married you in the first place.
Sure, I'll turn around and run away.
So that's deep. So
Yeah,
there's deeper
that's hectic.
messages.
Yeah.
And for a husband to say, oh, she was just angry and let it pass, there are consequences to that later on in life. And it's vice versa for both the husband and the wife. So he responds even more angrier in the situation. He starts hurling insults. He starts saying despicable things to his wife, to the point where maybe he might throw something on the floor or push a kitchen cupboard too hard and say things related to the past and how miserable he is. This is not just anger, Zahir. This is not just we had a bad day. This is reflections of a deeper emotional wound or wounds in this marriage, whether it is unacknowledged hurt on both parts, whether it's unmet needs, lingering resentment. There is something deeper going on in this marriage, and especially if it is recurring, the root causes have to be uncovered. So when we're angry, we're basically masking our true emotions of vulnerability. So when you're screaming at your partner, you're saying bad things, it's you masking your vulnerability, your sadness, your disappointment, your fear, or your shame. The anger is sometimes all someone knows as a default coping mechanism to survive in that situation or to protect themselves, because that's what you learned as a child. In order for me to protect myself or as a coping mechanism, I need to express anger. Words carry a much deeper message than what meets the eye, or should I say the ear. And in my practice, I listen to my clients quite attentively. And you know what, Zahir, through all of their words and explanations and detailed stories of their experiences and what they're going through, all I hear them saying is, I feel unappreciated, I feel neglected, or I feel unheard. And guess what? This isn't only from women. Men feel this way too, and rightfully so. If that's what you're feeling, you have a right to feel that. So all of the built up frustrations over a period of time, whether it is the wife, whether it's the husband, an eruption is highly likely, especially during Ramadan, when people's patience are wearing very thin.
So do you think that in the month of Ramadan, besides it being a test, it's a month of tests, you know? So do you think this is sort of
And revelation.
a revelation in the process?
Indeed.
Eh?
Indeed.
Because that's sort of like you hear these very relatable stories and you hear it from other sources and stuff like this. So you've hit the nail on the head in that regard. So it seems like not everyone's alone in this.
Well, tell me, a person's not going to really now shout at her husband or him shout at her if we know tonight we're going to our favorite place for dinner. I'd rather keep quiet or he won't take us. Now it's Ramadan. We can't go anywhere.
So all the truth comes out.
I'd rather just say what I need to say.
So true, so true. So many couples also make up after these fights and sort of move on. But you've suggested that all may not be well. So how does unspoken resentment or unresolved anger build up over time? And what are the long-term consequences for the relationship if these issues are not addressed properly?
This is a very important question. I want to try and explain it in the way I know best. So each individual, all of us have some sort of trauma, whether it's from our childhood, our life, some sort of pain that we may have experienced, right? And that then creates a pain body within us. We all have a pain body. Some it would be grief, losing a parent, losing a child. Others it would be a divorce. Others it would be a really bad accident, or one parent left the home when they were younger, whatever it may be. That pain body, we can call it.
Is it called a childhood trauma? Is it similar or different?
Well, that could be one of the causes for your pain body. You had childhood trauma. The pain body is almost like, I would say, like shaitan. Okay, but let's call it the dragon. And the dragon's fast asleep within all of us. And the dragon needs to refuel. And in order to refuel, it needs to feed off something that is extremely powerful that can give it the fuel it needs to be satisfied. So the pain body in couples, between husbands and wives, feed off each other. So when we haven't fought for very long, not unconsciously, nothing's happened. And the dragon inside the pain body is like, I need to feed. And so something erupts in both of them. The soul consciousness is our place of purity. Allah consciousness, you don't want to hurt. Within our soul, we don't want to hurt anyone. You want to please your creator. You want to do everything right. You want to make your spouse happy. That's all the goodness in each one of us. The pain body, the dragon, needs to refuel. So the soul consciousness sort of steps aside, and the dragon, they feed off each other. So during that argument, he says the worst things to each other. So does she. It gets really ugly. And now they are both satisfied. They have refueled. So the dragon goes back into its dormant state and it goes back to sleep. And then the soul awareness comes back. And then an hour later, she feels bad or he feels bad, and they reconcile. And all of a sudden they made up, and you're wondering, what's going on here? What's happening with this couple? So the refueling and going back into the dormant state, then people then reconcile and say, I forgive you, I'm fine with it. But they need to work on their pain bodies, because there's going to be a recurring need to refuel again.
So wouldn't it say it's like a sort of like a toxic relationship to an extent?
Well, it depends on the severity of the issue. Like I said, there are certain issues which are natural and normal, because too much of something is too much for anybody, right? No matter how happy we may all be in our relationships, you're bound to have issues. But when it gets to a point that is unbearable, and obviously there's signs and symptoms, people start researching. When you start researching, why is my spouse doing this? Then you know that's a red flag, because that's not normal. So within each person, they will know when they've reached a point to say, this is not a normal functioning relationship. And it's up to them to then seek professional assistance or do something about it.
Okay. Well explained. Now, fasting can also be physically and emotionally taxing. So how does fasting impact our ability to regulate emotions, and what strategies can couples use to navigate these challenges without letting frustration or even anger take over?
That's a very difficult one, but again, we can work through it, because fasting does lead to fatigue. It leads to low blood pressure. It leads to disrupted sleep, because by the time you're finishing Tarawih, going to bed, waking up for Sehri, then Fajr, then dropping kids off school, everyone's routines are completely disrupted. So it does lower our emotional thresholds. So it makes an individual more prone to being irritable and to have the anger outbursts, where they're not necessarily that type of person. Usually they're calm people. So to counter these effects, plan simple, nourishing meals. I would start there. Choose consciously what you want to eat for iftar and for sehri, because what you put into the body makes a huge difference to how you behave. Not many people understand the link between the nutrition and the moods and how they are interconnected. So even scheduling rests throughout the day, even if you do it for 15 minutes in the day, you say, I'm taking time out just to isolate, find some time to nap, to read, to make zikr of Allah, to do, it's called breathing breaks, just to help release tension so that you do not have the accumulation of frustration. Another key strategy is proactive communication. If something is bothering you, agree on a calm time between the two of you. 3 days have passed and you both at each other say, okay, listen, on a Friday, at what time do you think it would be suitable for us to sit and have a chat? I'd like to address concerns. One thing I want to recommend is both cannot speak at the same time. They have to be active listening. So if you're making a decision to sit with your partner, give him, I'm going to say him, a chance to talk. Give him a chance to talk. Listen to what the person is saying and amicably try to resolve conflict. Do not cut each other off, whatever you do, because then you're back into the loop and the vicious cycle of resentment and disaster.
Okay, so listen properly. You have to listen properly in order to achieve some sort of common ground.
You guys just listen. I don't even think it's listening. It's just called shutting off.
Sure. Ramadan, sister. Have some mercy on us, at least. We try our best where we can. We all are built differently. But, children often witness these conflicts, even if parents think they've resolved things behind closed doors. So how does observing these patterns of conflict and reconciliation affect a child's emotional and mental well-being? And what lessons are they internalizing about relationships?
This is a very important question, because in our unconscious states, we sometimes forget that children are listening, observing, watching our behaviors, and they learn the exact same behaviors. Many of us, the manner in which we behave, the manner in which we conduct our relationships, our belief systems, our filtering systems, everything that we do, our food choices, our clothing choices, is strongly dictated from things that we learned or observed from our own parents. And so, whilst you may say we had an issue, but we made up, the child did not forget about the unresolved conflict. They absorb all of your emotional cues. And that these experiences then instill a belief system within them that conflict is part of relationships. Unresolved conflict is part of relationships. And once they embed this as a belief system into their subconscious mind, they would then grow up believing that in order for them to have successful relationships, unresolved conflict needs to be a part of it, or anger outbursts followed by making up within 24 hours needs to be a part of it. So this can lead to increased anxiety and insecurity in your children over a period of time, because they internalizing these patterns as models as to how to express or suppress their emotions. For instance, if parents consistently resolve disputes through explosive arguments followed by superficial makeups, children will learn that conflict is destructive and inadequately resolved, potentially leading to difficulties in managing their own emotions, in their own friendships, or forming healthy relationships later on in life. They also will develop a tendency to either avoid conflict entirely, or they will become overly confrontational people, neither of which is conducive to long-term emotional well-being. So in essence, the way parents handle conflict, the way we manage our own marriages, teaches our children what trust means, what communication translates to, what empathy means. Critical ingredients for building resilient, nurturing relationships in their future. So there's a bigger picture. If you don't have kids, do what you need to do. If you have children listening, especially if they actually, you know what, today at all ages, they're very smart. You need to become a more conscious parent and a more conscious spouse.
Because they learn through observation, isn't it? And it's not just about the words, it's about the actions as well.
It's about the actions. They're not interested in what you say. They are looking at what you do.
Absolutely. So the segment is proudly brought to you by Adila Vahid, the life coach. So give us more background about your sort of life coach experience, just to enlighten the listeners, and how can we find you?
Okay, cool. So I've completed my master's in coaching. I'm now practicing as a life and leadership coach for the past 7 years. This will be my 8th year. I deal with emotional and mental health. I also do ear acupuncture for people that are suffering from anxiety and suffering from many other symptoms, and they're not sure how to help themselves. Ear acupuncture helps with that. I have my rooms in Musgrave in Durban. I see clients every day besides Friday, but it has to come through an inquiry, and then of course understand what exactly are you not comfortable with, what are your challenges, what do you need help with. Of course, if I feel that a client is not coachable and they require further intervention, I would then refer them out to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever additional professional help they might need. So coaching is about coaching conversations. It's learning more about the client. You are the expert on your life. I can't tell you anything about your life because you know your life and who you are better than anything. My responsibility is to just be there to guide you through the process, identify your blind spots, ask you questions that you didn't think about before, and literally guide you to find resolution within yourself.
Awesome stuff. Sister Adila, thank you so much for joining us. On a side note, lighter note here, Brother Wahid is listening to the conversation. He says, "Salams, my wife worships me like a true husband," from Wyatt. All right. And also Sister Farhana sends a shout out to her daughter-in-law, Hafsa, who's living in London, celebrates her birthday. SubhanAllah, I want to give a shout out to her as well. So thank you so much to all of you interacting with us. Tomorrow's another day. Lots happening. Also, someone mentioned that there is a huge accident involved in Peter Maritzburg mountain rise. So please be careful in that area. Brother Ismail says, "Salams, bro, my bro-in-law calls his fro a dragon." So it's common. So, brothers.
Interesting.
So now we know where it stems from. Thank you so much for joining us. And up next is Hafiz Wadi for your iftar hour, or iftar hours, taking up to iftar this evening. A big thanks to Brother Asi for the technical side, Sister Rebecca, our producer, Brother Muhammad Iyaz, Sister Adla for joining us here today. And we'll get you again next week, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Have you
Same
chosen
time.
a topic for next week?
We're still busy with
We're going to
it.
see the moods for the week.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, Sister Adila. Up next is the iftar hour with the Hafiz Wadi, taking her up to around about 6:30, inshallah. Brother Yusuf Bassa says, Salam, Zahir, Ramadan Mubarak, and to you as well, Brother Yusuf. And congratulations to Brother Shahid for winning that Stone Artisanal Pizza iftar box. And we'd like to thank Stone Artisanal Pizza for sponsoring the iftar here at Radio Al Ansar. For myself, Brother Zahir, and the team, until next time, look after yourself as well as one another. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Radio Al Ansar.
The Al Ansar Foundation supports elders and widows in our community. Your zakat provides the essentials like lights, water, rent, and food, bringing relief to those in need. Join me, Kelly Ramazani, as we raise funds to ensure that their needs are met all throughout the year. Call Outreach on 031 208 1601 and let your zakat change lives.
Durban's #1 truck stop, Reef Trade, situated at number 9 Joyner Road, Prospecton, offering a 24-hour parking facility on site with diesel wholesale and mobile distribution for vehicles, generators, plant and machinery to your door, safe parking, truck wash, container handling, restroom facilities, and more. Call us on 083 449 1563 or 083 978 6410 for a free